everybody, and welcome to Small Space Gardening Collaboration for Kettle Kitchen. So this is the April edition, and we're discussing microclimates today, and this is a big topic that needs to be discussed. So as you can tell, I'm outside. First time in 271 days we've had temperatures above 70 degrees. So we're going to enjoy it today, and we get to sit out and just enjoy the weather and you know, get a little more sun on our bodies. And excuse any excess noise you may hear. As you can tell, I'm outside and I live right on the main road, so we get some traffic sometimes. So as I said before, it's a Small Space Gardening Collaboration, and I want to thank Pam and Steve from their channels, respectfully. Pam is Bloo's Self-Reliance, Steve is Dig Well Green Fingers, and they're hosting this collaboration. And this is a year-long process on how we grow in small space gardening, okay? Now with that, we're all the collaborators, which there will be a list of them down below, and please do go check them out. Great channels, great information, and I think you'll like what you get to see. And as I say all the time with any collaboration, go check the channels out, because I think, you know, well, I would recommend that you like and share, comment, leave valid comments, because it helps their algorithms. And if you find content that you like, consider subscribing. They would appreciate it, and it helps them out as well. So that being said, all of us are theoretically in different locations geographically around the world. There are channels from all over the place, and each of us have a different growing season, okay? Me specifically, I'm in northeast western United States, and my growing zone, for those that use growing zones, because I know not everybody does, ours is 6B. Now, my 6B is going to be different than a friend of mine, another channel, Danni at Wicked Awesome Gardening. She's 6B also, but she lives on the opposite side of the United States, and her growing season is different than mine, even though we're in the same zone. And then it comes down to what the subject matter and topic for today is, which is your microclimates. And specifically with us, compared to Danni, we have different microclimates, which makes our growing processes much different. So with me specifically, I have a last frost date of usually the first week of June. I unfortunately haven't even been able to start growing, but that is something we are moving into this next week. We're about, what I'm estimating, 6 weeks out from being able to plant in ground without issue. So I'm going to start my seed process, which will be inside for that 6 weeks, this next week. That is something I have to constantly consider. Now, a lot of people, okay, yeah, you got your last frost day, you could start doing it inside, but mine's so late that I can't even start thinking about putting seeds in until about this time. That'll give me the 6 to 8 week time that I need for that to happen. Constantly, we're watching our weather and our weather patterns when we get to this time of year, because I obviously don't want to put out a lot of product that's going to die off because of weather issues, primarily freezing. The other thing that we have in this time of year too is we often have a lot of rain this time of year, and that will actually kill the plants as well if they're not hardened and ready to be put out and survive on their own. So I have to watch for that. The other thing that I wanted to hit on is, when looking at the soil that I have in the plant system that I have set up, I really have to watch the weed growth, and I have to watch the soil itself. And let me explain what I mean by that. One of the things we have to watch for, as I was stating, was the soil. And in the soil, we get a lot of moisture. We get moisture from October till just about a week ago, so third week into April. My flower beds are not covered, which I'm considering changing that for next year, but I haven't up to this point. Those have retained all that moisture. Okay, now there is drainage in those, but that's a massive amount of snow, and then the ongoing rain, the melt, things like that. And because the way our trees are set up around us, we get a lot of leaves, okay? So I'm constantly, even though I'm out there trying to pick things off, there are things that stay in there. And yes, for a theoretical mulching or composting naturally, that's okay, except I run into a problem where those things will cause mold really bad. So I have to watch for that. So here this next week, after I get my seeds all done, then I'll go through and I'll start getting the soil figured out and see if I need to add anything to it or not. But that's part of my issue with microclimate. The other big things I deal with microclimates is because of where we live, and because of people just walking up and down the road the way they do, I have to make sure none of my flower beds are within their reach, because I don't want them destroying them and hoodlum kids, things like that, as they walk by just randomly picking stuff out. I'm not going to put all the work out to have somebody destroy them that way. The other thing is I have dogs. So another reason why my flower beds are raised, that I don't want them chasing after something or somebody, or running after a toy, or just playing in general and run through the flower bed. So that's another reason why we do flower beds, as well as I am disabled, so I have to make it so I'm able to reach them with no problem. The other issue we have in our microclimate is attracting pollinators. Now, we get pollinators all the time, but keeping them so that they're actually effectively pollinating in my garden, I have to plant pollinators, okay? So as you see us go through this process, and maybe in the next one I'll be able to talk a little bit about it, I do, and as a matter of fact I did in the last one, I spoke of putting flowers in one of the beds. That's so I attract pollinators. So within my microclimate, those are the things I have to deal with. Put in the comments, tell me what the things are that you have to deal with, and the struggles you go through, as well as any recommendations you may have. So again, as you've seen in the beginning of the video, you've seen some flowers and whatnot. Those are already established flowers. They've already been hardened. Those things have went inside flower beds that we have. You can actually, if you look over my shoulder, they're right there in this flower bed here. But those things have to be done in that way, because I can't just seed plant in the ground because of a possibility of last frost. So we're moving forward, moving along. So I welcome everybody for coming, or thank everybody for coming. Welcome everybody that's new here and hasn't seen any of these. Follow us on our road, and we'll see you next month when we do the next installment for the May edition of Small Space Gardening Collaboration. Thank you guys. Have a great day.